Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I've got a bit of a different one here. But before that, I would like to say thank you to everybody who subscribed. Hopefully I hit by 500 at this point. I'm at 498 as of recording. 500's been a goal for a while, so thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. But this video is about my League games, and don't mind me there in the bottom corner. I was recording these thinking I would post them as full videos, but there are too many and too much, and I picked 3 of my 8. I ended up going 3 and 5. Kind of a disappointing result, actually. I was really happy with this deck. Geomancer Earth Air. It's got some big butts, got some air movement. But I wanted to talk about these games and go over them, kind of like see what went wrong, maybe what I can learn from these. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer game format video, maybe a little more chill, a little more pauses. But this first game is against CJR. He's playing an Elementalist. I think it's got some knights in it, a lot of really good minions. Well, it's been about 3 weeks since I've played this, so we'll see how this goes. I know I win this one, but it's a really close game. And then the next game is going to be an Avatar of Air game that I lose, but it's a really good, like, I felt like I almost had it, like, just had to turn a corner. And then the final one will be against Zalem, who's playing some aggro stuff, and where I think this deck just falls apart. And why I think this deck isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. So here, CJ plays a Serpelius. It's a 4/3. It moves freely in a body of water. It's a really good blocker. It's a really aggressive minion because you can play it safely. It's got evasion, so it's really strong. My deck, like I said before, is a mid-range pile of cards, and it's just playing minions. So it's a very minion-based strategy. It's just not being proactive enough. It's just trying to win off of the Geomancer card advantage you get with the playing the sites with the second ability, so you can keep drawing spells. The card advantage you get off of Geomancer's ability is enough to win a lot of games, especially like casual games and games where you're not playing tooth and nail. But in the league, a lot of players are taking this very seriously, and it's a really good competitive environment. Where Geomancer feels like it's kind of falling is, or at least my deck, this Earth Air list. It's quote-unquote too fair. All I'm really doing is playing minions and then saying go. I'm not putting my opponent into any tricky situations. There's no way of like, I got you. Like if you can't deal with this, I will just run you over. And then here in this list, or in this game, CJR plays a Rule of Thule out of nowhere. It's things like that where they're quote-unquote instants. They have an immediate impact on the board. They do something. So like he was able to take out my Pudge Butcher without me being able to respond to it. So where a lot of decks I think need some boost, like this Geomancer one, and what I'm trying to learn still is you need to play quote-unquote instants. You need to affect the board immediately, and be proactive. And you can be proactive while still playing control decks. Like in the 40/20 champion, Moss Island Leviathan deck, he's playing Mariner's Curse, where you can kind of play around it, but he's playing Riptides, which is it's almost like an instant. I know it's sorcery speed, but your opponent can say, I think you have a Riptide, but there's no way of knowing. There's no immediate course of action. There's no chance to respond to it. You can play around it the best you can, but there's no immediate, hey, I've got you. And there's no insane value card in this kind of list either. It's just efficient minions with some movement spells. So here I draw a Feast of Crows, and I'm thinking this is a pretty good draw, and I'm not really sure what to name. So I think about it for a while, and Feast for Crows is just a really good like prevent your opponent from winning kind of card because I'm thinking Elementalist. He's got an Island Leviathan. What is the worst card I can see? And it ends up being Grapple Shot because playing against Moth's control list for a while, every time he has an Island Leviathan is able to hit for 16 in a turn, um, it's just painful. Uh, and seeing an Island Leviathan across from me is like, that's my biggest threat. And how do I lose? And it's a Grapple Shot. And there I get really lucky that the Grapple Shot is the next card he was going to draw. And a Grapple Shot, I think he just wins this game immediately. He's able to take care of my unicorn or hit me for 16 or just do some shenanigans or play an instant impact card. So I'm trying to look for an opening and I think I try to bait out a block from King Arthur. Or no, I tap and move, that's right. Because I want him to attack my unicorn. There's no way I can attack Undertow and him not block. So I want to get King Arthur away from my sights as quickly as possible. And kind of keep his tempo off of me so it buys me a turn. So this is where like positioning matters a lot. Controlling your opponent's minions and where they are going is really strong. Trying to like keep the pressure off of you with positioning. So sometimes with control decks they'll play Perilous Bridge or Free Cities or whatever and funnel you off to the side, and it forces the aggressive decks to take that extra turn or two. Here I think I kind of mess up and play my tower to the corner. Oh, okay. Yeah, I move it. So I have a Common Sense in hand, and I'm thinking I can Grapple Shot my Vampire. I can attack maybe for 4 on the Island Leviathan, and then Grapple Shot onto the Black Knight. CGR okay. I Common Sense for it now as a like, hey, if you attack me with Black Knight, I'm just going to Grapple Shot you, and it's not going to feel very great. This was more me trying to do a bit of a mind game of don't attack me. Even if you attack me, I will then Grapple Shot with my Vampire and gain the 4 or 5 damage, and it's just going to be a wash. But keeping him off of my sight for as long as possible, trying to control his minion movement. I think he plays a Lugbog Cat off of what I knew about it from Feast for Crows on the Troll Bridge to prevent me from attacking the Island Leviathan, which is a very, like, it just makes this game was really good it was very chess-like, where he made a play and was able to, like, make me respond to it, but I was also able to do something to make me make him to respond to me. There he has Atlantean Fate, and I feel okay with Atlantean Fate. I'm just trying to play my minions to my tower as like avoiding Atlantean Fate stuff. So, and then I get guards, and I kind of like brain fart for a second and like, guards is so good, just play guards. But then I had like a whole line just played up for a Grapple Shot, and that's what I tend to do a lot is I get stuck on an idea, and I think it's a detrimental aspect where I need to not slow down so much, but like be open to more lines of play. And there, maybe playing the Lugbug Cat on the Island Leviathan would be better, because then like prevents me doing Grapple Shot onto his knight, but neither here nor there. It made me tap and move there and Grapple Shot. And I'm thinking guards is a great like just chump blocks for days if the game goes a little bit longer, so I can kind of hold on to it. I'm holding Cast to Exile for the Island Leviathan. I think we play it as the Island Leviathan gets exiled, but it gets shuffled back into the Atlas, I think is the current ruling. Don't quote me on that. Somebody double check me. But yeah. And I'll talk a little more about the deck. The Earth Air was kind of an evolution of the Wild Wild West deck. And trying to get to 8 mana and be able to double spell efficiently. But where I felt the Wild Wild West deck was kind of like slow. Sorcerer is just really hard to get to that 7 and 8 mana. You kind of have to play the Mana Rocks and the Mana Dorks to efficiently get there on turn 6, you say. But Geomancer just gets there on its own. And I'm playing Blinks and a little bit of effort movement, so I can kind of like keep using its ability and keep playing Sights. And not... So this is back to, like, I should have played Guards the turn before. I would have had a chump block for the island, and then been able to cast the Exile of the Island still, and just not take 8 damage. I don't know. This game's hard. I think there was... Oh, what's going on here? Like I said, it's been a couple weeks. Okay. He wanted to turn off some of my threshold first and not lose Island Leviathan, which is fine. Nothing had changed on my end. I hadn't made any blocks. He hadn't drawn any cards, so totally fine with a little bit of rewind there. So there I get Pegasus, which is just like not an impactful enough card to really like matter. And so I'm able to cast the Exile this. I think he does not block. Yeah, he takes the 4, and I have to cast Guards just for chump blocks. There's not going to be a way for me to block King Arthur. I think it's a 4 for 5. With even if he attacks first, I can't block with enough minions to kill it. Lugbug Cat, kind of same situation. I'm 1 short. So the 6 mana Guards is just you get. I want just minions to be good. But right now in this game, you can't play efficient. I mean, you can play efficient minions; they make a good base. But you need to do what's a good word for it? Impactful plays, or like high swingy games. You need, but not making your deck swingy. You want high impact cards like uniques, like the Feast for Crows. Like Feast for Crows, I think won me this game. But you need more of them than just one per turn. Here I can do double spelling, which is really nice. And also Lantean Fate makes everything water, so I can't like bury things, so it kind of blanks one of my cards. Here I opt not to trade with the Lugbog Cat and just attack for 3. I'm at 16 off of the 1 heal, and I'm thinking I can just race at this point. I have 3 damage immediately, then I have 6 damage on board, so I'm 2 turns from getting him to door. Even if has some way to deal with some of my minions. Oh, I mean, I also have the Quagmire, so it saves me a turn there, and then I can chump block the cat if he doesn't have a way to deal with that. So he's really at 3, and I'm at 16. It's not that much of a blowout, but it's much closer than that. But that's where I'm thinking right now of like, I can just survive for 2 turns while I punch. And that's kind of where I I do well at of these kind of aggressive lists, and I maybe I should put hippogriffs back. The problem with hippogriffs in a geomancer list is you have to play a higher density of air sites, and geomancer really rewards you for playing more and more earth. Moving some frogs, but there was one, was it, I think it was my second game. I was thinking it was the game after this where I didn't hit a second air threshold until like 8 or 9 sites deep, and I just didn't play any spells because I had a hippogriffs in my hand, and then I drew another one, and so I had two dead cards in hand, and it was just kind of a blowout. So back to, and that's a good point to bring up with even talking about Kyle's, the most recent video I did, or second most recent, or most recent, I don't know, the video I did with Kyle, talking about threshold counts and what it takes to effectively or efficiently attack or get to play your spells on curve, and that's so important. I definitely had a lost game because of it. In this next order of attacks, I'm actually pretty proud of this one. I see that I can discard my useless cave-in to deal 3 and not lose my minion. But now he's at 5, and I have a Highland Clansman, and I need some way to open up a attack avenue for it. So I see that he has a knight with a lance. I tried to get an attack or a block with off that first foot soldier, and then this one I'm thinking he's gonna block with. I think he's gonna block with the king, and then I'm gonna attack with the Pegasus, hoping for a block. 9 times out of 10, when somebody offers a free trade, is not free. It's done for a reason. And this reason was to open up an attack to take him to the door. So it's hard. It's also hard not to block that one because he's at 8, and going to 5 just feels a little more dangerous. And so I'm hoping for a block to open my attack. When anybody offers a free trade, I guess my takeaway here is it's usually not free. They're doing it for a reason, like trying to remove a lance or trying to remove a blocker is usually the reason for it. So if he hadn't blocked, I would have still played Highland Clansman, but he would have been at 2 because then he could have blocked with the frog or the knight that was untapped. Just like if somebody attacks for quote unquote no reason, it's usually for a reason. Moving some frogs around, he attacks me with a Lugbog Cat. I think he attacks me with the king as well. Or no, we trade. So now I only have one attacker with my hippogriffs, and then he has the great old one. So this is a hell of a blocker, and I forget, do I top deck the win? Not. Oh, and then he animates another Leviathan, so he has 2 blockers next turn. It's, I forget, is it a grapple shot? I forget how I get there, but that exchange of blocks, ordering really matters too. So like maybe I should have not attacked with my hippogriffs first, and maybe I should have attacked with my, oh, I still don't have it, but now I'm like, all right, how do I prevent myself from going to door? I have a unicorn that can kind of negate the Lugbog Cat. That's kind of an even trade, and I move up as like maybe I can use my avatar to do it as well. This is just like playing with fire kind of thing. You gotta play with no minions on board almost. Like you gotta assume they have some way to deal with it. So being positional wise is also very important. And so you can see here, I'm just, I don't know what, not really sure. I don't want to move up, just because that's a little more dangerous. A Rift Valley is a really interesting one here too. So if he stays where he's at, I can move him over one and get him away from any blockers, which is my current game plan. Uh, Here, he moves on to the island of Leviathan as like that's a really good spot to be, just because it gets away from the hippogriffs. And then when it's my turn, I do misplay. I think I should have just moved my hippogriffs onto Undertow just to be one step closer. Here he takes the opportunity to trade his Lugbog Cat. Or I think he attacks and I block. It's just like that's what I wanted to do happen. So that's beneficial for me because that's my plan, or like my prepared idea. A lot of games I felt like I lost where I didn't have a plan, or I was just like, all right, I'll just play efficient minions and just kind of grind out value, I guess. But that didn't work in this league, going 3-5. And talking with CJ, with a Blaze, I did not see a Blaze coming for the Great Old One, for sure. So he then, with Blaze, goes onto my step and steps back one to destroy my foot soldier before he can block, and takes me to door. So now I need a win off the top, or something. This was just a really good game against a really good opponent. And this is pretty late in the game, and I'm looking for one of my finishers, like Craterize and or not Rift Valley, but a Grapple Shot or something. I'm just living off the top deck, but we both are. He had a flanking maneuver, and then here I'm just explaining that I was going to use that his move onto Island of Leviathan was a really smart idea. So if I hadn't gotten the Craterize, I would have gotten Whiteheart, but that doesn't really work. It helps for a turn, I think, and then I just got some minions, and it would have been 3 or 4 turns before I had another opportunity to win the game. But thank you for the game, and this game was... I really like this style of game where it's mid-rangey, it's all about positioning, it's creatures, it's blocking, all these little decisions matter a lot. He's got another big boom there with the worm. And this is where I start to feel like my deck was like okay, but the only reason I won was because of like blocking and positioning, not because my deck was doing me any favors. So in here, this game, I'm pretty sure this is against Avatar of Air. One of the scarier matchups for this deck, because it's not playing Divine Healing, it's not playing eggs, it doesn't play the efficient little creatures to like prevent some early damage. I have to try to position well and win with bigger creatures. And here I get Common Sense, Grandmaster Wizard, and Grapple Shot, and a Quagmire. The Quagmire is huge, it buys me a turn. The Common Sense kind of equals a Grapple Shot, so I'm going to send that one back. And the Grandmaster is really good, but Geomancer has built-in card advantage that's already better than Avatar of Air's card advantage. In sending back Grandmaster Wizard and Common Sense, I'm really looking for efficient minions, or slowing minions to slow things down, like spiders or unicorn, or just these harder minions for Avatar of Air to deal with. Keeping the Grapple Shot, because that really is like a free trade, and they play a lot of flyers, and I don't have a lot of flyers, and it's just the most efficient way I have to deal with stuff. Earthquake here it's fine. It's just really annoying against Bats, because Bats doesn't die. So here I misplay, and I cast a blink without air. I show my opponent the card I drew, and then we just like, yeah, it's fine, just leave it on top. So he gets a Cloud City. Cloud City with Avatar of Air is just so annoying because so much it can be so flexible and the movement's so good. Um, Here he has a really aggressive turn with another fate with a phase assassin. So now he's 5 power on board. I do buy myself a turn with Quagmire, and I think I get a boss troll or spider. No, I think I get a boss troll because I'm thinking I need a way to. Oh, I mean a Pegasus. Pegasus is almost better than a boss troll right now because he has the bottomless pit and flyers equal flyers, and so he taps, and we were discussing that if you move into the aura of Quagmire, the attack fizzles. And then I played my Quagmire in front of his Cloud City as well, because if he plays another site and is able to move Cloud City up, and that will make it just almost impossible for me to keep playing sites efficiently. I'm going to have to like build off to the left. Getting locked out with Cloud City is a true threat, so you have to prevent that from happening. It has to be an active like decisions to be made, because if you let Cloud City run and do whatever it wants, it will kind of lock you out. Here he gets another Cloud City, so I really should have played another site to the right of my or are we discussing? Oh no, his turn's not over yet. I think he flies up one. Yeah, flies up a Cloud City, and now my sites are starting to get choked out a little bit, so I have to play another site. And now with the freaking maddening bells off of Avatar of Air makes life really difficult. I get really lucky with the top deck of a tower, so I can still play my Pegasus. I'm in pure survival mode, trying to not to get swarmed out by bats and phase assassins and just general 3/3s. And I was hoping to play Earthquake this turn to try to get rid of phase assassin, but the bells is just such a huge card in this matchup. In this match went really long, actually. It was a lot of very little decisions. Avatar of Air in 50-30 kind of went down in consistency, with Bottomless Pit and Bells being elites. But there's still the games where you draw them, and he was able to also have a trinket to efficiently trade into my Pegasus, which is not the worst thing in the world. I would have traded my Pegasus into Phase Assassin probably, just to keep minions off the board, keep damage off the board. So I'm not too upset about the trade there. And here's the aggressive Avatar of Air. Attacking with Avatar of Air is not a bad idea either. And doing some rearranging in sites there. Still trying to play around bells and keeping in mind I have to get to 7 mana before I can start doing 5 drops, which is just going to take forever. And also, since I'm playing air, it's not a huge cost, but it is a cost to play air, with Avatar of Air being a really strong deck, because you give them so many launch pads. And here I'm just trying to run away from the bells, and you have to try to prevent bells from just restricting you 100% of the time. If you just go sit in the bells aura, you're making your life pretty hard. And now he can still move up 1 and attack, and I'm still in the bells aura, but just trying to be proactive. This is what Avatar of Air is really good at. This is turn 5, I think, and I'm already at 10. I think Yeah, I'm already at 6 on turn 5. I've never had a chance to really play minions, and I haven't really drawn a whole lot of minions either. So this was a bit of an awkward draw for me. Coupled with the bells, makes it really hard. Um, get a really lucky rip with the tower there. You saw I drew a sight for turn, and it's like I need to hit earthquake or else I'm gonna lose immediately. Uh, and so I drew a sight for turn and flipped a sight just to dig as much as I could and got really lucky. And here I have a decision to make with, like, do I want to get rid of the 2/3/3s, or he has a ring on as well. That ring represents a kill spell in my head, and any spell he plays with ring, it becomes, well, if you're at 0, you just lose. And we also missed a little, a trigger or a situation here. We kind of discussed amongst us. He said he would have still attacked with hippogriffs, so it would have just been at that site. It makes my job a little easier with the earthquake. This is just a very complicated game, so there's going to be things that are going to be missed a lot of the time. But I'm still going to be playing earthquake and then passing, so I really enjoy playing people in the community, because I would say everybody's kind of like this, where, oh, we missed this last turn, I would have done this instead. We can just continue from there. Here now I'm at 3. I'm still looking for a way to stabilize, and I have a blink in hand and a root spider. So I'm like, if I can get on the root spider, I'm now not restricted by the bells. I think I have 7 mana again. I'm going to play the vampire, because any attack he makes, I need some way to, like, not die. Oh, he has haunt. That's what I'm thinking about. Haunt just wins the game if I can't block. So in this situation, I just need to keep building mana, but also block. So I think this is the best positioning and setup I could go for. I think I should have blinked my avatar onto Rift Valley as well, lining up a root spider, grab the ring a little bit sooner. I don't think I wanted to, like, show my hand as quickly as that. So I have to block. I have to gain the 4 mana or the 4 life. And having his haunt there isn't the worst spot either. I can then disable it with root spider and go from there. Another thing I could have done probably differently was earthquaked the 4 sites there instead of playing root spider, and then he pushes me over one to kind of like push me into his minions, which makes a lot of sense. Oh no, he gets me out of the adjacency of rubble. That's right. Do I draw a sight? I don't remember. So here off of the earthquake, I'm a little clever play, I guess, for this one. Earthquake that section, get to 8 mana, and disable his haunt. Oh man, I'm trying to think. Oh, because I wanted to get rid of all his minions to attack me. I know he has trinket and attacking me for 2. Just getting rid of his minions was I think my goal there. Playing a Pegasus. This is where I think I have, like, a chance to, like, turn a corner, because he's top decking, and maybe he just gets some slow top decks. I'm at 8 mana. I think I'm trying to think of some way to kill the haunt with maybe grapple shot, but then I also need to take care of the Pegasus. So I think I need a minion, or a Cavian will work. What do I... Oh, then I blink. Maybe this turn I should cave in and Gigantism and kill the Haunt, come up to the top, move down, but then I'm worried about like charge minions coming off the Cloud Cities. So I don't want to move Spider until I'm really ready to. Because I really don't want him getting the ring back. I want to try to get the ring and start gaining some incremental life. So I start with a blink to just see my options, and I get another Spider, which is not great because I can't Spider under Pebble's Path, because then he can just attack the windmill and take me to door. Right now I know he has Trinket, so I'm at effectively 1. So if I have to deal with the Pegasus and set up a way to get the ring, yeah, so I don't common sense because I want to like hold that for something. I guess I could have common sense for a Sparrow, but I think this coming turn I get lucky and draw a Sparrow. I think I'm just holding common sense as a... I don't know what I need yet. Maybe that's a second grapple shot. Who knows what that is, but... then again, asking about charge... I think the rule he's asking, if he plays a minion on Cloud City, then moves it into Pebble's Path area of effect, it will then lose charge. But if he has Cloud City there and then plays a charge minion and then starts an attack into the aura of Pebbled Path, the attack will still resolve and finish. So moves his Cloud Cities back. And then plays a Tooth Fairies. I think he knows, yeah, he knows I have Gigantism in hand from early in the game, revealing it off the blink misplay. Yeah, this is... And then a Pudge Butcher is like, alright, I'm starting to maybe stabilize, but I still need the ring to gain some life. I'm going to Gigantism the Root Spider, come up. I tap and move over. What he could have done there, since the Haunt isn't immobile or isn't disabled anymore, he can intercept. He can then intercept and deal the damage to me. So, but we both missed it. Here I get Grain Sparrow, gain 2 more life, and then ping the Haunt a little bit more. I think I have enough mana now to grapple shot the... Oh no, I just passed because the Haunt has to leave and do its Haunt things. But here I have all my sites protected with a chump block from Grain Sparrow. Grain Sparrow is just a really efficient minion, and every time I draw it or get it, it just feels good. Even if he attacks again, I have another Spider, so I'm like, if he gets Haunt, I can then Spider it again without burning a grapple shot, and then I'm trying to set up a turn of Pudge Butcher and grapple shot to like take him to door really quick out of nowhere. Just trying not to die. But back to why this deck kind of feels lackluster. It's not doing anything super surprising. It's... Oh, here he gets Boulder and is able to keep a hold of the Boulder with the Cloud City placement. Takes me to 1 again. So then I get a unicorn, and any charge minion I think takes me to door, deals with unicorn and Pudge Butcher. I move over to get closer to his avatar to try to start gaining some life. Play a unicorn, ping, gain 1. I'm at 4 more mana. I think I play another Pudge Butcher. Then I'm starting to develop a board. I'm just barely there. Here I'm trying to like figure out the best blocking thing, but he's got Avatar of Air, and like he's very maneuverable, so he can go really wherever he wants. So I need blockers. Grain Sparrow blocks 1. Unicorn blocks sort of another one, and I'm also trying to set up Grapple Shot. Again, positioning. Positioning is so important. This game, I feel like I made some good positioning decisions. I think it's just the deck was too slow, or just missing a little chutzpah, little bit of extra surprise factor. Here he gets a 10. I'm pretty sure I go to door this turn. So here he does have a charge minion to take me to door. Pebble Pass, I think, is a very strong card in this list, and a lot of like anti-aggro things. Pebble Path is a very, very good effect. Here we're discussing that Pit is the only spot on this board where I can get to, if I can get to, that Boulder doesn't kill me. But the other thing about that is he has a flying minion on a Cloud City that can just attack me anyways. Guards doesn't help because it's just gonna die. Yeah, I don't know. This is just a very good example of Avatar of Air having, if it's on an air site, having access to so much movement and quote-unquote free movement, being untapped and throwing Boulder around. Here I do some shenanigans with Pudge Butchering myself forward 1, moving Grain Spell up 1, and then Grapple Shotting over to the pit. Spider doesn't help me. There's no, from the cards I have there were no way to not die on Death's Door, and that's the power of Avatar of Air. You can really set up those turns when you get your opponent to Death's Door that there's just no playing around. And this last game is a bit of a blowout, I'll be honest here. But this is against Zalem, and he's playing charged deck with Sorcerer, so it's Fire Earth, I think, but playing Cavalry, Red Cap Prowries, just a lot of highly aggressive minions. And I'm still like, maybe this deck is good because it's playing a lot some beefier things, but it just doesn't get there. The power of charge and a minion coming down and doing something immediately can't be understated. My minions are quote-unquote just too fair. Yeah, they're efficient, like with Unicorn and Boss Trolls and other things, but efficiency won't win you the high competitive games. Fire Air. Here I draw Just a Rock, and he plays a core, and I was like, I got you with the Just a Rock, the card that was going to ruin the game, but it ended up not really mattering. I get kind of excited with the Just a Rock because I think this is the first time I get to play it in an actual competitive environment. Also having Gnome Hollows here, I was feeling pretty good, but Geomancer is forced to play to the that six sites around you, so it's hard to really funnel your opponents. you can do it with like free gnome hollows, and so his attack right now is the tower. So, but then I have root spiders who go underneath the tower, um, and then here I mess up and grab my entire deck, and get it was still a Rift Valley. There's a Rift Valley on the bottom and a Rift Valley on the top. Just weird. So I'm trying to like protect my sites the best I can, and buying turns and looking for openings. But I never played a big minion. Maybe that's what this deck is lacking, is like good minions at 6 or 5, and just playing bigger stuff. Maybe I'm just playing the efficient stuff, and I really should be playing one big spell a turn and not trying to like double spell a turn. But here's Great Famine. Great Famine is a very interesting aura. It takes care of root spiders and the burrow minions alike. Here I also mess up, and I should have drew a site. I just playing too fast. Draw a site, play it in front of his tower, keep him off your side. Yeah, just yeah, I played horribly on this one. Playing 2 spells there. I can't play anything into that aura, or else it's just gonna die. And again, if I just drawn a site and played next to my gnome hollows, this would have been better. This goes back to positioning and board presence is just as good as much as possible. The White Heart I thought would buy me a turn or two. I mean, I have Earthquake, but then I have to Earthquake my own minion, which is just not great. Should I have moved it over and then Earthquaked? I don't know. I played poorly. Let's say that. But also, the effectiveness of charge minions is really strong. And then now he's at 5 mana, and I haven't been able to put any pressure or build a board presence. I drew another site or spell. I'm looking for minions, but I really should have drawn another site. Kept playing sites. Yeah, it's just so many bad decisions in this one. Wanting to hold Vampire just to like, I have to take care of his minions. Yeah. Oh, and I also wanted to move my avatar over, so maybe that's why I didn't move my White Heart over. And now he has Blink and a red cap, attacks for 3, attacks for 6, and the game's pretty much over. The last 2 turns decided this game. It's also a good learning point or thing to call out. Usually, you don't lose the game on the last 2 turns of the game. You usually lose the game turn 5, 6, and 7, where it's like it feels like whoever blinks first. I blinked first. I didn't have my I didn't draw a sight and play it in front of my Rift Valley. That whole decision gave him another avenue to attack. Didn't protect my minions. What I could have done if I had drew a sight, played a sight up, he wouldn't have a good attack with his lion. I could have just played my hounds onto my Rift Valley and blocked that sight, and then played a highly protected White Heart on my starting location, and my whole 6 sites can't be attacked until he deals with my White Heart. But that's behind a Gnome Hollow. So, like, these little decisions have set up the entire second half of the game, and I just made all of the wrong choices. Drawing a site there, I get a Pebbles Path. I've gained some life off of the tower or the pillars, but it doesn't really help. Then I grapple shot, and I'm thinking I can grapple his avatar over and deal with him that way. I'm still at 10, so I still have time to play a vampire, but he has so much card advantage. Yes, he has 3 spells, but those one of them is a trinket, but he can draw 2 more spells. So he has 4 spells that could be a barrier, something that just deals with Pudge Butcher so effectively. Um, yeah, and then yeah, just looking back at this, it's that one sight draw versus not. And I don't know if you noticed on the last turn, this is sped up 2 times. He took a good minute to think about what he was going to draw and what he was going to do and what he needed for what he was going to. And that I gotta get better at that. And if you're losing games or like wanting to learn how to be better, it's just slowing down that extra little 30-40 seconds before you draw something at the start of your turn and trying to figure out what is the best line before you even start drawing cards. It's so easy to just kind of mindlessly draw a card or draw a spell, but it matters so much. I'm not really sure why I didn't Pudge Butcher his avatar. Oh, it's because I didn't want to be in line with him because he's got a bunch of maybe fire bolts or some projectile thing. But here I play my vampire. It's like, all right, if I can get vampire to gain some life, and I can start like clawing back some advantage. But now I'm at 1 spell in hand. He's sorcerer. He's at 5-6 mana, and double spelling. It's just gonna drown me in cards. And so at this point, it's like I said, I've lost this game 2 or 3 turns ago. So here he attacks with the sorry, the violent, takes me to 3, and then plays a Courtesan Thias to basically close out the game. He has me draw a sight. He takes my turn. Pudge Bushes me for the door. Then Earthquakes my minions, brings me closer to him. My vampire is so far out there, it doesn't matter anymore. The life gain doesn't matter. Then he moves me 1 step closer just to set up the winning next turn. You can see it's 20-0, and there when I'm taking his turn, I see he has 2 ways to get me to doors, and I think I burned both of them somehow, but there's no way for me to not lose. And then he double draws. I think he gets a firebolt or something. But I wanted to show off this list, not because I lost with it, but why I lost with it. It's a quote-unquote fair list. It's mid-rangey. It's not doing anything unfair. It's not playing quote-unquote instants. It's not playing an impactful card that does something the turn it's played. It's just playing a minion, passing, playing a minion, passing. It lets your opponent play around you. It lets your opponent respond to you. The high-level decks like Avatar of Air, or I guess Archimago now, Mr. Magoo, they're all doing something that is not impossible to play around, but harder and nearly impossible to play around with spells, which quote-unquote are instants in this game. They instantly do something. But thank you, everybody. Thank you again for everybody watching. Thank you for all the subscribers. Here's to 2025 and the next year of events and sorcery. Thank you, everybody. I'll see you next time.